Hello, adventurer. It's good to see you. You have made it to the morning grind.
Welcome, welcome.
It's the live stream at the beginning of the Geekverse, where we talk about all types of topics in geekdom, gaming, and fantasy, with an emphasis on being constructive and creating the things that we want to exist in the world.
It's all on the grind, Sizemore. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
That's exactly right. There are a lot of adventures to be had today. Dungeons to explore and monsters to slay, and who knows what a random encounter might send our way. That's why we have to prepare, so settle in now for the morning grind with your favorite beverage in hand.
Tea? Or maybe something a little stronger. I've got a few bottles of the old Wynyard left.
Whatever you want. Pull up a chair.
Dude.
If you're feeling fancy, how about a cappuccino? Or a frappuccino? Or how about an espresso?
Just tea, thank you.
Sounds good to me, Gandalf. Whatever you want. I'm just glad you're here.
Everyone is welcome. You can just watch if you want. You don't have to worship anything you don't want to worship.
Thank you, Mike. But be forewarned.
Sometimes we get really strange characters around here.
Wait, what's that you say? Why can't you come and be a part of the stream?
My wife would disown me.
Oh no, I bet she'll be fine with it. Come on in.
Am I scared for my safety? No.
What are we supposed to do?
Everybody do the secret handshake.
Secret cultist handshake.
Oh, now do wizards who love each other.
This, my friend, is a science.
I still don't have gifts, but it's fine.
It's all on the grind, son. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
Dude, this would be a sick place to bring the band.
Indeed it would be, Dave. It really would. I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome. Glad to have you here. Oh, look, here's someone new.
Is this the cultist meetup?
Yes it is.
Come to hang out? Please accept me. I have nothing else.
Okay, we accept you. Everyone's welcome here.
Brought some snacks.
Well, that makes things even better.
You want some coffee? I don't drink coffee. You sure?
It's cultist coffee.
What makes it cultist coffee? I'm a cultist and I'm drinking it. Oh. Then I'll have some.
What exactly is going on here?
I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome. It's so great to have you. Oh, and look, here comes another stranger.
Can we help you?
Yes, fellow cultists. I could really use some food.
Oh yeah? Welcome. We have donuts.
Oh, it's me. I'm glad I'm here. I'm sure you have a few questions for me, though.
What's your name? Who do you work for? What god do you worship?
Great questions, Rob.
I'm Steve King, and I worship Nyarlathotep.
No, not really. I'm just Heath, and I won't be worshiping anything this morning. But I will be your host. Welcome to the office. We're going to have a great time. I've got my coffee ready, because now it's time for the morning grind.
If you could become a fish, that would be amazing. Then I could command you with my mental fish powers.
Good morning, everyone. How are you this morning? Yes, Stargate Mind is here. Yep, sorry I had you sorry, yes, I was a few minutes behind this morning. Hope everyone's doing well. Hey, Brent. Brent is a channel member. Good morning, Brent. And Zero the Blade. Hello and good morning. And Stray is here with us again, so all is right with the world. Again, welcome. Good to see you, Stray. So, how is everybody doing today? You know, I was trying to think of different ways that, always trying to upgrade or revise what I'm doing here. If something, we can do something better and do things in different ways. I feel like I have been completely unproductive over about the last 3 weeks. This is ridiculous because this is supposed to be another world building Wednesday, and I have been working on the world stuff, but I'm just not ready to do another world building show. But that's really what I'm supposed to be doing. So I got to figure out how to get more of that done. And actually, I was talking to Brianna yesterday afternoon before we did the table talk yesterday, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. And we need a Zero Theory is here. Good morning, Zero Theory. that we're trying to come up with like a year plan. I need to come up with like a year-long plan here because there's stuff that I have got to get done over the next year, and I got to figure out how to get them done. Because her plan, we've talked before, her plan is still to move out to LA and be part of the film or television industry or something like that. And I'm really ready for an adventure as well. Hey, Nathaniel. Welcome, Nathaniel. And so her plan we were talking about was probably to move in about 14 months. So I was like, you know what? Okay, so I need a really solid 12-month plan. So I think it'd be fun to go out there with her. I need an adventure. But that means that, man, I've got to be much more productive than I have been over basically the last 3 weeks. So I got to figure that out. So also, so I was also trying to think, but should I be incorporating? I talked about incorporating some possible news and talking about stuff over here, because one thing that we've got over here, I think a lot of the topics that we discuss here on the channel, whether it's during the morning grind or whether it is something on Table Talk, are things that people would want to come back to even 2 years from now. Like the discussions that we've been having on Table Talk. Last night, we had a fantastic discussion, Doug and I did, on Silence of the Lambs and the Heroine's Labyrinth. If you didn't see that one is well worth watching on replay. That was a very in-depth discussion. Doug had asked me, he said he wanted to take, instead of talking about the Heroine's Labyrinth and doing examples from a whole bunch of different places, he wanted to take one movie and then go deep into the Heroine's Labyrinth analysis. And he recommended Silence of the Lambs. And so we did that. And we went deep. So that one you should definitely check that out. In fact, I need to be posting places like where you can get to all the Table Talks are organized on their own playlist. And those are the kinds of links I need to start having handy. But if you go to the live part of the YouTube channel, or it's either playlists or live, it was really fantastic. Sable Phoenix says, Doug is brilliant. How is he not a more famous writer? I hope that Heroine's Labyrinth makes him a big name. I do too. And I've got several books that I need to read from friends. I'd like to read Doug's historical fiction on Empress Theodora. That's Flyaway Bird. I also have had Cameron's historical fiction on my to be read list, and I just have not been able to get to that either. There's a bunch of stuff that I haven't been able to get to. That's why I need some serious structure and schedule to be able to accomplish everything I want to accomplish over the next year. So I would definitely watch that. But I was also thinking that, man, I would like to incorporate like discussing some things that are a bit more topical here on the morning grind for like the first maybe 15 or 20 minutes or something like that. So still have our main topic about whatever it is that we're trying to get into. But like what is going on in the Geekverse and what do we think about it? The problem there is when we're talking about the news, how do we aggregate the news? One of the things that I was thinking that could be a possibility is that maybe in the Ravenkeep Discord server, we need a place to sort of crowdsource the aggregation of geek-related news. I need to figure out maybe there are some ways that I can set up some kind of Google alerts or something like that. But that there should be some way that we could possibly crowdsource the news. So if somebody sees something that is going on or something that has happened, that we could put it over there, and then that way I could go through it and we could talk about it in the morning grind. I've been thinking about that. So that would kind of incorporate some stuff that's going on now. Now, like we try to do in the RPG scene, like I haven't even necessarily been real fast about like when Kobold Press is releasing some new material for what it was Black Flag, whatever it's called now, Age of the Valiant or something like that. And we do have different Kickstarters, and I do try to talk to people about Kickstarters. And by the way, has anybody seen, speaking of Kickstarters and things that are going on, has anybody seen this Alchemy RPG thing that is on Kickstarter right now as a virtual tabletop? I looked at that yesterday and it seemed kind of interesting. I want to know more about it, and I'm wondering if I can get their creators on the show. I think that would be fun. Okay, so that's what I'm thinking about. So let me know if you think that's a good idea in a way to take the show. I also have got to reestablish, part of the things I've got to do is reestablish my early morning anchor, because like when I was talking with Doug, I didn't get to bed until really late last night. So we may again be moving up. I was asking Doug if he could start like the table talk at 7 o'clock rather than 7:30. We may move the table talk to 7 rather than 7:30. And then Hero Quest. When we play Hero Quest this Friday, that's going to be early, 6:30, because that could take a it'll start early. Okay, let's go over here to the messages, and then we will get started. I'm gonna look at the rules of the Cyclopedia. I have really been enjoying that because it lets us know what old school really was. Because like I said, I know a lot of Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. I started with Advanced Dungeons and Dragons 2nd edition. But when people are talking about going back to the old school, this is actually helping me understand what exactly the old school is in the most classic way. All right.
Fish are friends, not food.
I'm a little worried about Rob.
Yes, it's happening.
Ever since we tried to summon Cthulhu, he hasn't been the same.
I'm growing gills. Gills! My transformation into a deep one has finally begun.
Rob, we don't see any gills.
It's these kids getting involved in all this stuff causes them to go crazy.
If you need to catch up on the Cultist show, both Season 1 and Season 2 are on my YouTube channel. Just go to the playlist. Each episode is about 5 to 7 minutes long. This month, there are several things going on ravenkeep.net. First, War of Kings is the game of conquest, kingdom building, and strategy that my brother and I developed. It's Catan meets Risk, but there are only 5 boxes of War of Kings remaining, and the game won't be reprinted. Also, Enchantress, the game of wizardly combat, also designed by my brother and me, is on ravenkeep.net, but there are just 6 copies of that game left, and it will also not be reprinted. So if you'd like either of these games for your table, please pick up one from the website now. If you've been enjoying what I'm doing here on the channel, please consider becoming a channel member by clicking that join button. Your support is so important, and this month, we have a special offer for all of the channel members. If you join, you'll get a $7.99 discount on all of the custom mugs from ravenkeep.net, Cultist Coffee, Witch's Brew, or Fish Do Not Drink Tea. Once you've joined the channel, just check the members only post on the YouTube channel's community tab for the discount code. Remember, all orders from the website of $99 or more ship free, but I can only ship to the United States. And thank you for being here with me live on The Morning Grind. And if you're watching on replay, welcome to you as well. It's great to have you here. If you're enjoying The Morning Grind, please click the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. It will really help the channel grow, and I would be very thankful. We also have the Ravenkeep Discord server you can join if you would like to be a part of the community. All right, that's what you need to know. Let's get to the main topic. Good morning, Mike. Good morning. It is good to see you. I had something else I was going to say, but I forget. Oh, yeah. So one of the things I wanted to do on World Building Wednesday, I was trying to figure out how do I get more attention on the kinds of projects that we're doing. I had tried making some of the shorts. I heard that YouTube kind of wants shorts. So I was like, well, now on the story YouTube channels, maybe I could work on some shorts. And so I did do several for the Black Cipher. But man, that was there was no rhyme or reason that I could tell about which one of those got watched and which ones didn't. I'm not even sure. Sure what it takes to in the exact sense to when in a real sense in order to get these things out. So what I'm thinking about doing is tracking that. I put together a table, and so on a World Building Wednesday, one of the things I want to do is we can track how well world building is going, because the idea was that, well, I got several ideas. We'll just see which ones are most popular on YouTube. So I thought we could all track that together. So hopefully next week we can start that. Zero Theory says about alchemy table. I'm already heavily invested in Tabletop Simulator, and I think it's a fantastic tool. So I always use that as a standard to compare against. Well, I looked briefly into Tabletop Simulator, and I can see why a lot of people use it. But we'll have to let you guys compare that. Good morning, Nightmare. Good morning. All right. Let's pull this up. I was also working, just had started working on the Goodnight Sword Kickstarter page yesterday, but I don't think it's saved because I had a computer crash right before Table Talk last night. So I'm probably going to have to start that over this afternoon. I got to work on that. Okay, so we were taking a look at the rules cyclopedia here. And now look, here's strongholds and dominions. So we definitely said that we wanted to take a look at that. because so weapon mastery, I forget who it was, but somebody recommended looking at weapon mastery and then also domain play, because that's something that's kind of left. So we want to see what that was. But we were just about to look at elf, dwarf, and halfling in the classes, and I want to be sure that we go ahead and do that, because race as class is something that had also kind of gone away. So I want to see how that was done. So we'll take a look at that, but just look at other topics here. Of course, we've got equipment, other character abilities, time and movement, encounters and invasion, combat, mass combat. Okay, mass combat I think we should take a look at. Strongholds and domains. And then I was kind of interested in what it was telling the game master, how the game master was supposed to run this game. So there's several topics to take a look at. Let's go ahead and let's go back to where we were, though, to go to elf, dwarf, and halfling, just to see what race as class was like. Okay, so this is dwarf. So, okay, so our maximum level 12. So it was also pointed out that perhaps the reason that these had maximum levels is because the race as class people are going to get more stuff in the beginning. And that is a way that this game was balancing things. Was like, okay, well, if you're powerful in the beginning, then you need to be not as powerful toward the end of the game. Whereas like the magic user is the reverse. Okay, if you're likely to die early on, you need to be compensated for that if the character survives by having someone who's really powerful by the later levels. So we don't typically balance things like that now. That's not a more modern idea of balance. But maybe if the elf and the dwarf are getting more stuff up front, then well, they're not going to be able to advance as far. So maximum level 12, any armor, shields permitted, weapons, any small or medium melee weapon, short bows and crossbows permitted, but longbows forbidden. Special attacks, fighter maneuvers. Lance attack, set spears versus charge maneuvers at first. That said the fighter had that, but I don't remember seeing that. So it must be in combat or something like that, because I don't remember seeing those maneuvers. It said, hey, you get those. But I don't remember seeing how to use them. So maybe they're in the combat. Half damage from spells at 1,400,000 XP, infravision, extra languages, dwarf, gnome, goblin, kobold, 1 in 3 chance of detecting traps, sliding walls, sloping corridors, and new construction. Although the dwarf class is different from the fighter class in many ways, their tasks are the same. Dwarves are only able to attain a maximum of 12 experience levels at best. However, this is balanced by the dwarf's special abilities, such as the ability to see in the dark, detection ability, and better saving throws. Dwarves are formidable fighters, no matter what their level. So dwarves are D8 hit dice, which was the highest level hit dice. So our special abilities, when the dwarf's experience points total reaches 660,000, he gains the fighter's combat option. With multiple attack combat option, the dwarf can make 2 attacks at 660,000 experience points and 3 at 2,200,000 experience points. He can use the smash and parry combat option, so that must be all in the combat section, but cannot use the disarm option against a giant-sized opponent. So here is our dwarf experience table. Now, I do like this picture of this dwarf over here. I think this is a pretty good dwarf. But here is our dwarf experience table. And we do only go to level 12, but our experience points do continue to go up. So attack rank. And now I was also thinking about this, that I don't see anywhere in here that is telling you the Thaco. So that must also be elsewhere. Like, for instance, here's the thief. Here's our thief tables. We're told level over here with XP, and then we've got a couple of abilities that are put in here. So it's not like 5th edition where basically every level has new abilities coming out. But then we do have thief saving throw table over here. Okay, so we got their saving throws, and we got all the thieves' skills here. But in all these cases, I don't see something that just reports the Thaco. So that must be elsewhere as well. That must be in combat options. So the organization is something that's been improved. Well, arguably. 5th edition can have some weird organization. But you would think that information would also be here at the would also be here. So but because the wizards got, or the magic users got the spell level and the saving throws, but that's about it. And attack rank. So even though the level stops at 12, there's still different markers for experience points, and then your attack rank, I don't know what that is, but it's probably in combat. C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M. Gain fighter combat options. 2 attacks are possible at this level. At level 12, automatically take half damage from damage causing spells or spell-like effects. So even though he's not going up in level, he's still getting some additional stuff at higher dwarf levels. And the dagger right here, 3 attacks per round possible at this level. Sable Phoenix says, arguably this art is better than 5th edition art. Let's see. So special defenses. Experienced dwarves become more resistant to magic. When the dwarf reaches the 1,400,000 point experience mark, a dwarf automatically takes half damage from any damage-causing spell or spell-like effect, such as from magic items or strange monsters. Divide the roll damage by 2 and round down. If the effect allows a saving throw, a successful roll indicates that he's only taken 1/4 damage. Now, we do have infravision as well. Infravision is the ability to see heat and the lack of heat. Dwarves have infravision in dark in addition to normal sight and can see 60 feet in the dark. Infravision does not work in the presence of normal or magical light. With infravision, warm things appear red, cold things appear blue. This is at least more creative than, okay, you've got dark vision. A creature can be seen as a red shape, leaving faint reddish footprints. A cold pool of water could seem deep blue. Characters with infravision can even see items or creatures the same temperature as the surrounding air, since airflow will invariably show his viewer their borders, outlining them in faint, lighter blue tone. Until they move, they'll be very faint to the eye, but once they start moving, they become blurry, but very obvious light blue figures. Infravision isn't good enough to read by. A character can use this infravision to recognize an individual only if they are within 10 feet of distance, unless the individual is very, very distinctive. For example, 8 feet tall or walking with a crutch. Detecting traps. Sound like Hero Quest? Dwarves can sometimes detect traps, specifically traps built into stonework or heavy construction, not other types of traps such as rope traps in the forest or spring-out needles built into jewelry boxes. They can also detect sliding walls, sloping doors, and new constructions. If your dwarf wants to check for such things in an area, tell the DM. You have a 1 chance in 3 to find them. Roll a 1d6, and a 1 or 2 indicates success if there's anything to find. But this detection is never automatic. Elves kind of get to do that automatically. But take a look at these saving throws. So the dwarves have really good saving throws. Levels 1 to 3, we're already talking. Remember, you're rolling equal to or over this. So by the time you're up here at level 10 to 12, I mean, your saving throws, I mean, you're probably taking quarter damage, right? Especially if it's something that allows you a saving throw. Because we're 2, 3, 4, 3. So those are some really killer saving throws. So when a dwarf reaches name level, 9th level, he's usually referred to as a dwarf lord. He may build a stronghold unless he has forsaken his dwarven clan and is living among humans. It should be an underground cavern complex. Unless he's forsaken his dwarven clan and is living among humans, it should be an underground cavern complex located in either mountains or hills. If he is living among humans, he may build any sturdy stone dwelling that the human fashion instead, but will still want for there to be an underground complex connected to it. The dwarf may hire only dwarven mercenaries, but may hire specialists and hirelings of other races. Now here, talking about the art here. So here is our elf here. Now, arguably, the leaf pattern on her outfit here, it's a bit over the top. But still, I'm for it. I like that elf. but yeah, the fabric pattern's a bit much. Sable says, I like the different types of special senses in previous editions. 5e, just having dark vision is lame. Oh, Stargate Mine was talking about the scale of time and the level limits. Also, 90 human lifetimes equates 1 elven lifetime, so there are different restrictions. But how often does the lifetime come up in actual gameplay? That's why they removed kind of the point values for that in GURPS. Because, okay, early maturation, late maturation, my species lives a long time. How much does that, how many points or influence does that have in any particular campaign? Or a game even of campaign length? So elf. So what does elf get? So elf strength and intelligence, other requirements, intelligence score of 9 or more. D6 hit points up to 9th level, then +1 hit point and constitution modifiers do not apply. Armor, all. Shields permitted. Weapons, all. Special abilities, fighter maneuvers, lance attack, set spear versus charge at 850,000 XP. Combat options for fighters. Half damage from Dragon's Breath at 1,600,000 XP. Infravision, extra languages, elf, gnoll, hobgoblin, orc. 1 in 3 chance to detect secret and hidden doors. Immunity to ghoul paralysis and magic spells. Oh, magic, ghoul magic. Oh, I guess magic spells, not immunity to ghoul paralysis and magic spells. They just get magic spells. I was like, immunity, that's pretty broad. So, elf may only advance to 10th level, but this is balanced by the elf's special abilities, including the combination of fighting and spell casting. The combination makes an elf far more powerful than a human of the same level. Elves only employ other elves as mercenary fighters, though they may hire specialists and hirelings of any race. Okay. So special abilities, after reaching maximum level, 10th, elves may continue to improve in combat ability. This is a slow process, however, due to the fact that they must divide their training time between fighting and magic. Elves always know the following fighter maneuvers: set spear versus attack and lance attack. Fighter combat maneuvers. When the elf character reaches 850,000 XP, the characters receive the combat options for fighters. See their descriptions on page 104 under combat maneuvers. Okay, so that's where it is. With multiple attacks, 2 attacks are possible at 850,000 experience points and 3 at 2,600,000. The elf never gains 4 attacks per round. The elf may use the smash, parry, and disarm options as described in the text. James says, I agree with Sable Phoenix. The art is quite good. Oh, Sable Phoenix says, I mean, it was the 70s. That oak leaf jumpsuit is the height of fashion. And Lord Lawless says, yeah, past streams, someone said dwarves are slightly weak fighters, but they have excellent saves, infravision, and the underground skills. On the only downside, in my, if I recall correctly, is they can't use large weapons. I remember that, saying that dwarves were just slightly weaker fighters, but they get their dwarf stuff. Special defenses. So infravision, they have infravision identical to that of dwarves. Oh, experienced elves are more resistant to Dragon's Breath. When they reach 1,600,000 experience points, he automatically takes only half damage from any breath weapon, notably Dragon Breath, but including all sorts of breath weapon attacks. If the breath weapon allows a saving throw, a successful roll indicates the elf takes 1/4. He can speak Orc. In addition to languages of the characters, the common and alignment tongues, an elf can speak the language of elf, gnoll, hobgoblin, and orc races. All elves can find secret and hidden doors better than other characters. Oh, no, it says you must tell the DM if you want to look for secret or hidden doors. The detection is never automatic. I thought that was... so that must be a different... a different game. That may be AD&D where there was the roll. I remember reading that someplace that the elf automatically had a chance to find some kind of secret doors. Stargate Mind says, it used to be dual or triple class, not multi-class, meaning you raise 2 classes at the same time during play, not class hop. Yeah. And I've thought about looking at that specifically for that reason, because it's been a long time since I've done that and hadn't remembered that. There was the dual classing, there was the multi-classing. And I do remember playing the dual class, or whichever one it was exactly called, like the multi-class characters, and you had to actually divide your experience points between the classes that you were trying to level up in, or something like that. And I think that would be worth looking at, especially for people who are used to like the class hopping, right, from 5th edition, that, oh, take a level in this, take a level in that, take a level in that. That was not how it used to be done. Stray says, my dwarf outdrank his war goat once. That sounds very dwarven. Immunity to ghoul paralysis. All elves are naturally immune to the paralyzing attacks of ghouls. Other types of paralysis, such as attacks from carrion crawler or gelatinous cube, do affect them normally. And spells can use magic user spells just as magic users can, though they receive fewer and lower level spells. Spells are described in chapter 3. Oh yeah, okay, so we do have a table here. When an elf reaches name 9th level, he's often referred to as a Lord Wizard if male, or a Lady Maga. Wait a minute. Here's the word again. I was looking that up. Now here's Maga. M-A-G-A. So that's different. But I was looking up the magic magus, the magus, and I didn't realize that had to do with being a Zoroastrian priest. For some reason, that completely escaped me, because that's not a word that I use or encounter very often. But I was looking that up, and I was vaguely familiar with it, and it comes from the Persian priesthood of Zoroaster, and I didn't know that. I think we decided that was magus. I think we decided that the term was magus, or it was pronunciated. Pronunciated. How do you pronunciate that? How do you pronounce magus? Okay, so over here we've got level 10. XP's over here. Attack rank. We're gonna have to. That may have some attack rank. I don't know. We'll have to look that up. So spells. So the elf does get 1 first level spell at level 1, 2 at 2, 2 and then 2. Okay, so we add the 2nd level spell at level 3, 2 and 2, 2, 2, 1. 2, 2, 2. So that's our progression. So then at level 7, so they can only cast up to 5th level spells. So at level 10, well, okay, at level 9, an elf gets 1 5th level spell, and at 10th level, 2. 3, 3, 3, 3, 2. Fighter combat options. Mike says, yeah, my dwarf used a bastard sword, but used it 2-handed. I even found a mini that wielded one. Oh, cool. James says, are all female elves or Trump supporters? No, so Satel says that Maga is so Magus is the feminine of Magus. See, I just, yeah. And see, I wonder about its relationship. I was going to look at like the Google, word use, because I bet they're not all that popular. Because like I said, to me, mage and magus are words that I would use. Although I tend to use mage completely general, although I do use the term magus sometimes. So, Lord Wizard or Lady Maga. I don't think we finished over here. He may build any type of kind of stronghold deep in the forest. This stronghold must pleasingly blend with its surrounding, usually a natural site of great beauty. Tropical locations are typical locations at the tops of great trees, on the edge of quiet vales, or behind rushing waterfalls. Behind the effort to beautify the work, the structure costs as much as a similar work made out of stone. When the stronghold is completed, the character will develop a friendship with animals of the forest, birds, rabbits, squirrels, foxes, bears, etc. All normal animals within 5 miles of the stronghold will be friendly toward the elves dwelling there. Elves will be able to warn of animals will be able to warn of approaching dangers, carry news events, deliver short messages to nearby places, etc. In return for these services, the animals will expect help to protect them. We also have some pretty good saving throws over here for the elf. By the time we're at level 10 again, those look like some pretty good saves to me. Do people not use? I mean, yeah. So you could use the. Does it really remove all doubt though? Because haven't I heard the term of wizardress? But yeah, Lord Wizard. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, they both could be wizards. Okay, so halflings then. No, that's a pretty good halfling too. Like wearing scale armor, looks like. Interesting. So let's see. Strength and dexterity, D6 hit dice. So the halfling's got more hit points than does the thief or the wizard. Small melee weapons, short bows, light crossbows. So a lot of these ones are getting fighter maneuvers. Fighter combat options. Combat bonus -2 AC versus monsters larger than man size. +1 to attack rolls with missile weapons. +1 to individual initiative. Half damage from spells at 300,000. Half damage from Dragon's Breath at 2,100,000. 90% chance to hide motionless in woodlands. 33% chance to hide motionless in dimly lit building interiors. Huh. So let's see. So combat bonuses. So -2 bonus to armor class when attacked by creatures larger than man-sized. So an AC of 6 becomes an AC of 4. I'm assuming that's your AC. So because you're so small, you're evasive. So when you're attacked by something really large, you get -2 AC. +1 combat, both the attack roll when using a missile weapon. +1 bonus to individual initiative. See Chapter 8 for details on initiative. So set, spear, and charge. We're going to have to look at that because obviously that's important. The set, spear versus charge maneuver. They're too small to utilize the lance attack maneuver, however. So here is our experience point table. Here's our attack rank again. Level 1 to 8. But then they do get some other things as they go up in experience points. And once again, they've got some rather good hit. Well, and see everything. The levels 1 to 3, 4 to 6, 7 to 8. Here are your saving throws, and those are also really good saving throws. So the demi-humans are tending to win at that. Woodland abilities. Outdoors, halflings are difficult to spot, having the ability to hide in the woods or underbrush. In such cover, they have a 90% chance to remain unseen. The DM will roll. So that's certainly a lot better than the thief, as we were saying that when the thief decides to hide in some shadows. At early levels, you basically need to assume that you're actually not hiding. Halflings can even hide in building interiors such as dungeons, though not with as much success. In situations, if a halfling finds some deep shadows or cover to hide in, his chance drops to 33%. If he cannot find shadows or cover, he has no chance at all. This ability is not the same as the thief's move silently or hide in shadows ability. To use this ability, the halfling must stay motionless. If he tries to move to another site, anyone can see him. So DM rolls here. When the halfling reaches 8 experience levels, he is usually referred to as the title of sheriff. In your campaign, this may be a merely honorific title, or the DM may choose to have the halfling character be elected to a local sheriff's position. Regardless of his experience level, a halfling may build a stronghold whenever he has the money or interest. The stronghold will attract a whole community of other halflings if constructed in a place suited to their preferences. That's it. So not a whole lot there for stronghold building for halflings. I also like this druid here. So this druid is different because you have to be a neutral cleric of 9th to 29th level may choose to study nature instead of remaining among the civilized areas. If he does so, he changes character class and becomes a druid. During the time, a higher level druid, usually 25th level or greater, will find the cleric, test him for worthiness, and teach him the principles of druidic philosophy and magic. So druid is pure neutral. So it says you change class. But okay, so it just starts us with level 9. So druidic experience level. So I guess you just pick up at whatever level you are. Spells per level. So this is coming out of cleric. So you are at your cleric spell progression. And then the same kind of thing for mystic here. So we're just starting at 9th. Now mystic, I think you could start off being a mystic. This was like our warrior monk. And that's an interesting depiction of the mystic. I was expecting something much more like Buddhist monk-like. Because that's what it sounds like what we're doing here. All right, let's see. We should probably see what that... Let's go... I don't think we need to go through spells and spell casting. Raise dead fully. Let's go. Let's go back to our table of contents. That was really interesting. Equipment, other character. Oh yeah, weapon mastery. Okay, so that was specifically called out. Other character abilities. Let's just see. So what is weapon mastery? 2 types of special abilities. Yeah, Sable Phoenix says this art is all you need to break out to put down the myth that somehow D&D has never been diverse or was somehow racist. I was thinking about that yesterday. Or sexist, right? 2 types of special abilities called weapon mastery and general skills. Can be used by player characters in campaign games. The 2 sets of abilities are optional. The game master decides whether or not they will be used in his world. Weapon mastery is the character's ability to use weapons with greater skill than the game normally allows. Excuse me. Weapon mastery. We don't know what all those A's, B's, and C's were. But weapon mastery is a character's ability to use weapons and with greater skill than the game normally allows. All characters, not just fighters, can learn to use weapon mastery. All characters, not just fighters, can learn to use weapon mastery. General skills are abilities that characters can learn and use in the campaign. Few general skills are useful in combat, but many help them throughout the course of a campaign. They also help to define the character and make him seem more real. So I was thinking about this the other day as well. And we were talking about like categorizing role-playing games. And maybe one of the things that we can do after having looked at so many of these different games is trying to understand. We've got these class-based games, but I was actually trying to figure out what one of the common thread that goes between something like Fate, something like Cortex, Savage Worlds, and GURPS. And I was trying to understand why like those kinds of things seemed connected to me. And it's because in those games, characters are basically defined as attributes, skills, and then some type of traits as well. And those traits could be things like advantages or disadvantages or aspects. But if you're defining a character by attributes, skills, and some kind of trait, which I happen to like, You're sort of in that kind of family of games. And then within that family of games, we have a breakdown between those that are more simulationist, those that are more narrative, and those that are more gamist. And so it seems like in that family of games, Fate would be the most narrative, GURPS would be the most simulationist, and then probably Savage Worlds would be someplace like the gamist type. They occupy the gamist position. So if that's one family of games, like these level-based games, that your character is primarily defined by something like a class and a level. And then we've got, in a much more ad hoc kind of way, because we've got class and level, and that tells you what we're doing here, and maybe race. But here we're just talking about class and level is really what defines your character, and then it tells you what if you're a character of that class. If you're a character of that class, you're very much similar to every other character of that level and class in this game. The only differences would really be that you rolled your stats. You rolled your hit points too. So you won't be identical because you might have different hit points because that was based on a die roll. And then your stats are going to be based on dice rolls. And if you happen to roll very well or very poorly, then you'll have some modifications to things. So this is really class and level. So this is probably, I think, another kind of family of games. Class and level modified by stats. But then sometimes we have some ad hoc kind of stuff. Like, okay, we got weapon mastery and general skills. Sable Phoenix says, D&D has always been inclusive by nature. The geeks and nerds would welcome anyone who wanted to play with them with open arms. There were too few of us to be elitist. Robert says, traditional RPGs with races with different abilities, sexy men and women in combat, have been targeted as harmful by an investment model that seeks equity and elimination of sources of inequality. Stray says, I like Knave's system. We went over Knave, and you may not have been, I think you may not have been with us, Stray, but I also kind of liked Knave. Now, I know that Knave 2nd edition is going to come out as well. I had some issues with it. We all actually had some issues with Knave, but overall, I also liked it. So that's another. It's definitely in this kind of class. Well, see, that one didn't have classes, did it? That one didn't have classes, but I would still say it's probably in this family of games. I need a name for this kind of family. Now, right, I was about to bring that up. Sable Phoenix says that, Karn I wasn't as big on as well, but that Sable Phoenix says that Mal's Ritter is the best of that style game that we've looked at so far. Yeah, I agree. Mal's Ritter was fantastic. Don't be put off by the anthropomorphic animals. We got to look at that system. And then that could be ported over to anything you wanted to. It seemed to be a fantastic old school system. Now, it was also classless. So there's a subdivision of this that's the Knave, Karn, classless kind of stuff that's like you are what you wear, which, like I said, that ordinarily is not something that I like, but it works in a certain style of gaming. Robert says race and sex are being targeted as those current sources of inequality. Does this have a warning on it? Hang on, I'm just curious to see that if this has a warning or not. I'll actually even have it up. So the D&D Rules Encyclopedia. Yes. So this book does have the warning on it on Drive-Thru RPG. It says, we wizards recognize that some of the legacy content available on this website does not reflect the values of Dungeons and Dragons franchise today. So this game may not represent the values of the Dungeons and Dragons franchise today. Some older content may reflect ethnic, racial, or gender prejudices that were commonplace in American society at the time. These depictions were wrong then and are wrong today. This content is presented as it was originally created because to do otherwise would be the same as claiming these prejudices never existed. Dungeons and Dragons teaches that diversity is strength, and we strive to make our D&D products as welcoming and inclusive as possible. This part of our work never end. Will never end. So this is a book that they decided to put that warning on. So be aware. Be aware that this book may not reflect the values of the Dungeons and Dragons franchise today. Oh, we got some spam here. Stray, can you mute? Oh no, we got some spam, but that's on Facebook. Never mind. Somebody's posting something on Facebook. Oh well, whatever. Sable Phoenix says, yeah, the legacy warnings. Bingo. Yeah. Sable Phoenix says, I generally prefer classless systems. Having character classes and levels has never made sense to me. See, generally speaking, I prefer classless systems as well. I think because there's like a GURPS thing. But on the other hand, I recognize their value. And especially like when we were looking at Savage Worlds Pathfinder, I mean, that's classless. But they did have like, the barbarian skills and things like that, which I really like. So that's depending on exactly how you're defining classless. Because I do think there's a lot to be said for somebody saying easily, I want to play a fighter or I want to play a thief, because there are certain archetypes that come up time and time again, and having some type of class, or at least having some type of template, like the character, those types of characters in GURPS, or like what Savage Worlds was doing to get you into character design, I really think is important. Some people want to spend hours making a character. You can make a character completely individually, but a lot of the times you end up with a character that's very similar to an archetype anyway. And so just building those archetypes into the game in some way gets you making characters. Sable Phoenix says, all the stuff before 5e has that content warning. It's stupid, and one of the many reasons I try not to buy anything from DriveThruRPG anymore. And of course, I'll never buy anything from Hasbro or WotC ever again. If they're going to be sending Pinkertons after their customers, like the OGL debacle, they're dead to me. Yeah. See, Hasbro owns Avalon Hill. So I guess I have been buying some of these things for the show, some of these older things from DriveThruRPG. Like I got this one from DriveThruRPG. So I have been buying some of the older material from DriveThru, or finding some things on eBay. I haven't bought any. I mean, I hadn't bought new 5e material anyway, long before the OGL debacle. And my other issue is that Hasbro does own Avalon Hill. So I had bought a couple of Avalon Hill things because Avalon Hill is currently publishing Hero Quest. So I'm not completely no Hasbro at the moment. But, it's one of those things that I think it's sort of similar with the older stuff being like perhaps bought on RP or DriveThruRPG or something else. It's kind of, to me, it might be analogous to, okay, the sequel trilogy Star Wars came out, but what toys sell? Everybody went back and bought new Han, Luke, and Leia toys, like when they came out with the new action figures and things like that, the Black Series and things like that, and left like Rey and all the new characters sitting on the shelf. So that was still sort of buying Star Wars toys and stuff that was licensed from Lucasfilm. But I think it was definitely sending a message, or you would think it sent a message to somebody that, hey, wait a minute, all of our new books or all of our new characters, maybe the same thing, and people, we put stuff out and they still want to go back and buy some of the older stuff. Mike says, oh, please, it was okay then, it's okay now. It's a fantasy world. Yeah, so that's disappointing. Sable Phoenix says, I didn't realize Hasbro owned Avalon Hill. It's this aggregation. I mean, everything over time just aggregates like that. So it does suck. So, and like I said, I'm not even sure. I never really, because I don't have any kind of insider access to exactly how, what the relationship was between the OGL debacle and people actually at Hasbro. So I never really knew that information. But yeah, I mean, most of the Wizards of the Coast, like I've stopped buying. I had stopped buying Magic cards, but see, I had stopped buying Magic cards before the OGL. So I don't know. Lord Lawless. Oh no, we'll see. Sable Phoenix says, yeah, classless systems. You can still have packages that give you those kinds of base archetypes. Yeah, that's kind of the direction that I'm going. Lord Lawless says there's a distinction between character focused and play focused. Classless, lots of options, long character creation and developments are good designs for character focused. There's a difference between character focused and play focused. Classless, lots of options, long character creation and development are good designs for character focused. Well, how are you just saying that, for instance, what are you saying that GURPS would be in that case? Because GURPS is definitely classless, lots of options, long character creation. I was talking to somebody else in the comments on one of my GURPS videos about, wanting to use GURPS as like a game building base. I wish that, see, Cortex is also not open. But so our two, it seems like, now, what other games like this are very complicated and robust generic systems that could be used to build out two things appear to be Cortex and GURPS that people that are around right now. Now somebody else is going to correct me and give me some others, I'm sure. And both of those are not open. Lord Lawless says, race as class, 3d6 in order, few options, playing multiple characters who can die, and that doesn't matter, are good designs for play-focused. Okay, I see where you're going with that. Like basic and expert. That's what Lord Lawless says. Few options, playing multiple characters. Yeah, I also kind of want to try the multiple character thing. I played also a very free-form game briefly, and I wish we had been able to do more of this, but I played a very free-form game briefly with my brother and my uncle. My uncle was basically running the game, but he was running it so that we were a small group of people who had landed on, like, as a small, more than an adventuring team, small army, like a sailing ship worth of people who had landed on a island with an attempt to, with the intention of conquering it. And so he was running it basically as the game master. But I'm wondering if that's kind of like what we were doing was free form kind of Dominion level play at this. And I like the what we were calling this the West March style of gaming, but then also potentially having multiple characters, because you get a wizard to our magic user in this up to level 9. Okay, he does potentially become a bit more sedentary, but then he's a resource for you as you're playing another character that's lower level that's going and doing something. I'm for being able to play more types of characters, because I've said before, if you've been following, that there are all kinds of characters that I would like to experience playing, but one character to, level 20 or 36 in this, but level 20 in 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons, playing more than one of them is not anything that I was ever able to do. Nightmare says, from my experience, players in classless systems tend to get more immersed in the situations of the game. Oh, really? That's interesting. They don't look to their character sheets for options typically. Hey, Draco. Stargate says West Marches is the best business model for game stores. Players can have a portfolio of characters. Yeah, I think that's what I would be doing. And like the game is running from, God, is that something we could port over online? Because I've still been thinking about that. I have not come up with a great solution for experiencing worlds and playing online, but maybe some kind of West March. Because I was thinking, now for a streaming thing, you could do that too. And then that way you wouldn't have to like get people to commit. Like, you got to be there at Friday, for the next next 3 years or whatever. But yeah, if I were a gaming store, I think I would do that too. Like, I'm running from this time to this time. Whoever is here, their characters are playing. Lawless says, I enjoy RPGs that are closer to adventure board games. I think Hero Quest is. Referee exists to allow arbitrary player actions, creativity without endlessly complex rules to cover everything. I also enjoy that. And in fact, that's part of why I'm wanting to do more streaming of that, because I like Hero Quest. I want to play Gloomhaven. And actually adjudicating the arbitrary stuff is not as important to me, because I'm perfectly happy with playing within a set of rules, because I've typically been going a bit more gameless. That's why I also love Zombicide. To me, those games get broken out quite a bit more often, because I can bring out Zombicide, I can put it on the table. All right, let's go back over here. So weapon mastery. So that was the diatribe on potential classifications of RPGs, I suppose. Weapon mastery. In the D&D combat system, each character automatically knows how to use every weapon available to his class for use. The following system gives players the option to either study one weapon in depth or to study a few weapons to a less intense degree. When a character is using weapons he has mastered, he has an advantage over those who have not studied these weapons. Where's my lip balm? Here it is. Okay, weapon choices. With the weapon mastery rules, when a human character is started, he does not know. With the weapon mastery rules, when a human character is started, he does not know how to use any weapons. He is given weapon choices so that he may choose to learn individual weapons. Demi-humans do not gain or use weapon choices. Due to their longer lifespan and wilderness-oriented lifestyles, demi-human characters start with a basic skill in all weapons and are not restricted from their classes. However, demi-humans can increase their weapon mastery through training as outlined below. So, number of weapon choices. Fighters start off at first level with 4 weapon choices. All other characters start off with 2. Human characters gain 1 new weapon choice at each of the following experience levels: 3, 6, 9, 11, 15, 23, 30, and 36. Fighters often also gain weapon choices at levels 19, 27, and 33. So that's all get them at this level. Fighters gain weapon choices at 19, 27, 33. All characters gain 1 new a weapon choice for every 200,000 experience points they earn above their maximum experience level. So that's the demi-humans. The weapon choices by experience table are shown in the number of characters' weapon choices. We got experience level, weapon choices by character class. Fighters versus all others. Okay, what to do with weapon choices. For each weapon choice he has, a character may choose to learn 1 weapon at the basic level of ability. By 1 weapon, we mean precisely that. 1 weapon from the weapons mastery table used in 1 fashion only. 1 weapon, for example, might mean normal sword. It does not mean all swords. When a weapon can be used in different fashions, one-handed or two-handed, as with the bastard sword, a weapon choice buys only one of those fashions. A character can have different levels of mastery, for example, with one-handed bastard swords or two-handed bastard swords, depending on how he has allotted his weapon choices. One exception is the net. Training with a net allows a character to use, this is a lot of arbitrary. So one exception is the net. Training with a net allows a character to use small nets one-handed and larger nets two-handed, so the net only has 1 entry on the weapon mastery table. Basic level of ability is the same level of ability you're already familiar with. Basic level allows the character to use the weapon effectively by doing the damage and special functions listed on the weapons table in Chapter 4. However, a character does not have to use every weapon choice he has to buy basic levels ability with a new weapon. Instead, he can choose to specialize by applying his weapon choices to a weapon he already knows, thus improving his ability with that weapon. These degrees of ability are called levels of mastery and are listed in the levels of mastery table. So here is the level of mastery. 0 is unskilled, 1 is basic, 2 is skilled, 3 is expert, 4 is master, and 5 is grand master. At first level, a character may spend all his weapon choices on different weapons. He may not yet progress. He may not yet press beyond basic ability. Oh, a character must. At first level, a character must spend all of his weapon choices on different weapons. He may not yet progress beyond basic ability with any weapon. So that gives you a broad foundation. He may spend subsequent weapon choices by either buying basic ability with a new weapon or to gain the opportunity to improve his level of mastery with a weapon he already knows. In general, the higher a character's level of mastery with a weapon, the more damage he does with the weapon and the greater number of special results he can achieve with the weapon. The different levels of mastery are detailed under training next. Okay, so let's see. Training time and cost time. Time required in weeks. So we do have a time component here, and then cost per week as well. Training. Although characters can gain basic levels of mastery simply by expanding weapon choices, characters cannot attain higher levels in the same way. Once a character has spent his first level choices to gain additional knowledge to use the weapon, he must be trained by someone who has equal to or greater knowledge of that specific weapon. This could be another PC, but it's usually an NPC teacher who found the adventurers through word of mouth. In some campaigns, weapon masters run academies where they teach proper use of weapons. So demi-humans can train to reach higher levels of weapon mastery just as human characters can. However, demi-humans are eligible to train only at levels 4 and 8, and 12 for the dwarves, and at every 200,000 experience points after reaching their maximum level. So experience points, you level out, but still things happen at other levels. Okay, so what does actually this do for you? So a student can train only to the next rank of ability above his own. He can go from basic to skilled, for example, but then and the next time going from skilled to expert, but he can never jump straight from basic to expert. Okay, makes sense. Okay, a student can train in the hope of achieving the next level of mastery and yet fail to do so. The student character has a chance of failure applied to each training period. His chances of success and failure vary by the mastery levels of himself and the trainer, as given in the chance of training failure table. Where's the chance of failure training table? Okay. From the character's perspective, failure may occur because the trainer has insufficient knowledge or lacks the ability to train others, or because the student cannot fully absorb new information. Failure does not mean the character has lost his weapon choice for the experience level. The weapon choice is still there, and it's still dedicated to the weapon and level of mastery he has chosen for it. The student has lost the time and money he has spent, but he may spend more time and money until he reaches the level of mastery for which he has spent the weapon choice. The chance of success is checked halfway through the training period, and the student is immediately informed of the results. In the role-playing situation, this usually consists of the teacher taking the student aside and telling him that he is not yet ready, and it's useless for him to continue at this time. The student may then either continue despite his teacher's recommendation or stop the training. If the success roll failed, this is interesting. I'm glad this was pointed out as something that was different from other versions of D&D, because even like weapon mastery with proficiency was very different from this. There was nothing about the potential of failure to train in like Advanced Dungeons and Dragons 2e. Has anyone played with this? So, if the success roll failed, but the student decides to continue training for the full period, the student may then study the same level again, but with a different trainer, and continue, and his chance of success is increased by 10%. Wait, the student may then study the same level again, but with a different trainer. If the student chooses to stop the training midway, he may then study the same level with a different master at the same chance of success. Oh, okay. So if you fully train out, you may then study it again at the same level, but with a different trainer. And that's why your chance of success is going up, because presumably you spend the rest of the money and spend the rest of the time. So you did put in more work. So if the student chooses to stop the training midway, he may then study the same level with a different master at the same chance of success. So that takes less time, but it's the same chance of success. The two advantages to this option are the character does not lose the rest of the time he would spend with the first teacher, and the first teacher normally refunds half of the cost of training. Chaotic teachers might not offer refunds. So as we can see from the chance of training success table, it is possible 1% chance for a character to learn a superior level of weapon mastery from a teacher who is actually the character's equal. Such unusual training matches usually end up with the teacher realizing and announcing that his student has surpassed him. Now you are the master and I am the student. However, learning from an equal level teacher is very difficult to do. Whenever possible, the student should find a teacher who is more skilled than he is. And when that isn't possible, however, will have to train with a teacher who is equal to his level. Okay, so this looks at this table. So students' knowledge over here, none, basic, skilled, expert, master, grandmaster. Trainer's knowledge, basic, skilled, expert, master, and grandmaster. So if you are training with a grandmaster, you have a 99% chance of going from none to basic. Because if you're at none and you're trying to get some basic skill in a weapon, 99% chance. If you're over here with somebody who has a basic chance, now, okay, so somebody who has basic knowledge and you have none, you got a 60% chance of moving up to basic. Mike says, yes, we had to seek out masters in other areas, which was incorporated into the campaign. My dwarf was as smart as a box of rocks. Let's see. So unskilled weapon use. If a character who is not trained in any weapon is classified as unskilled. If an unskilled character uses a weapon, the weapon has its basic mastery characteristics and bonus or penalties, but it does only half damage. Thus, an unskilled character uses a weapon that does 1d8 points of damage. He will roll d8 and then halve the result, rounding fractions down for actual damage. Missile weapons used at the unskilled mastery level also receive -1 penalty to attack rolls. When using the weapon mastery rules, the weapons from the last chapter's weapon table acquire new abilities and damage ranges. So that's what I'm looking for. Attack roll bonuses to table. Okay, so maybe we're getting there. What does this do for you? So characters gain several types of benefits from weapon mastery. These benefits include extra damage, attack roll bonuses, improved range with missiles and thrown weapons, ability to throw some hand-to-hand weapons, bonuses to armor classes, and other special results. Okay, well, give it to me. Oh, well, weapon mastery table. Chapter. Oh, wow. Okay, so there's a lot here. So it's not okay. So it's not even as simple as I was thinking. Like, okay, so what are the advantages that you got? But this is by weapon. So applying types of benefits, applying benefits. Some maneuvers and special weapons affect these rules. Provide bonuses to attack rolls and combat. Some benefits only. So attack and defense benefits, opponent type and damage bonuses. Attack roll bonuses. Characters with skilled or better weapon mastery receive bonuses to the attack roll with their mastered weapons as noted on the attack roll bonus table. When the character successfully completes training and achieves a new level of weapon mastery, he gains his new applicable attack roll bonus and all other special weapon benefits from the new level of mastery. So level of mastery, unskilled, no bonus, no bonus. What is versus secondary? Basic, no bonus. Okay, skilled is +2, +1. Bonus versus secondary. Improved range. So even with the additional bonuses gained from weapon mastery, don't forget to apply a character's strength adjustment to all melee attack rolls and to melee and thrown weapon damage rolls. Also his dexterity adjustment to all thrown and missile attack rolls. Improved range, throwing ability with hand-to-hand weapons, bonuses to the wielder's armor class. When a character is using a weapon he has mastered, he gains an armor class bonus above any he might receive from his armor or defense maneuvers. The armor class bonus he receives applies only to a given number of attacks per round. That number is given in the weapons mastery table, and it may apply to missile and monster attackers, H, handheld attackers, or all attackers. Defensive maneuvers. Despair result. It says, a weapons master amazing ability with his weapon can cause despair and fear in some opponents. This is called the despair effect. When it happens, the target effect may make a standard morale check. So this is table. So this table right here, so this is weapon mastery table. Let's look at two-handed sword. Okay, here's two-handed sword. This one we know. So it says two-handed sword. At basic skill, at skilled, at expert, at master, and grandmaster. So this is our damage changing here. Okay, look at this code. P equals M. I guess this is the number of hands. We've got a dagger here, 15 gold pieces. E and C. 100 CN. So the damage here, so I guess that's piercing and slashing. Damage types, I guess. Stun plus deflect. This is quite complicated. Sword here, normal sword. They talked about normal sword. Sword, bastard, sword, normal. Basic, skilled, you go up to D8. H, so we got some type of armor class adjustment here. This is quite a lot. Okay, so here's the abbreviations. No. Primary target type damage is, that P and S, that was not piercing and slashing. P and S is primary target type damage is, secondary target damage is. Primary target type damage is. I said I didn't understand primary and secondary. Does anybody know what that is? Is that the number of attackers that you're attacking? Like the primary attack? H is creatures attacking with handheld or thrown weapons. M, creatures attacking with missile, fire, or natural weapons. A is all types of targets. This wasn't even in AD&D. All types of targets. Maybe they realized that we need to simplify weapon mastery when they got to AD&D. Like, okay, wait a minute. We're doing proficiency bonuses here, and we're going to have mastery and grandmaster and all that, but we got to simplify. So one-handed weapon, two-handed weapon always loses initiative. A shield may be used with this weapon. Missile fire weapon. Melee weapon may be thrown. Melee weapon rarely or never thrown. The starburst here, weapon may only be properly used during a mounted charge. Small dot, small weapon. Circle, medium weapon. Filled in circle, large weapon. One, I think that's an asterisk. See weapon description in chapter 4. 2, see individual weapon description this chapter. A check is weapon may be set for versus a charge. Gold pieces and silver value. Okay, E and C is encumbrance. 25 CN. So encumbrance is 25 CN. Oh no, coin CN is coin encumbrance equivalent. So your encumbrance, so all of your encumbrance is going to be in coins. There is so much. Okay, so encumbrance is given in coin encumbrance equivalents. Square foot, level of mastery. NIL is insignificant damage. Treat as no damage. D, type of die to be rolled or not applicable. Oh, God, more stuff over here. -1 AC 1. Bonus to the character's armor class is used only against the number of attacks per round, the number after the slash mark. So you'd get a -1 AC for 1 attack per round. Someplace. If you're doing something. P equals A. Check mark. Modifier for saving throws against this weapon effect only. HD is hit dice. SML, short, medium, long range. A special effect column entry such as stun, short, or SM means the weapon has a stun special effect at short and medium ranges, but not at long range. I forget what that's called. See the special effects table, and others see special effects descriptions. Wow. That's quite an optional rule. How do you read these? I'm quite impressed. That's one of the most detailed tables. I didn't know D&D got that detailed. Really? When I think of getting that detailed, I think of things like Rollmaster, and I think about MERP and things like that. I typically don't think about Dungeons and Dragons, so that's interesting that it was there. And that may have been inspirational to some of the other things. So Lord Lawless says, going back to OD&D, treasure was the main thing to carry, so weight was measured in coins. 10 coins to a pound, if I recall correctly. I'm going to stop here soon, but I do want to check out the general skills there, but I wonder if that is under equipment, because I didn't see anything about encumbrance yet, but just checking out equipment. Basic weapon information. Armor. It's amazing how consistent that stayed in Dungeons and Dragons, the different type of armor that we've got. Adventuring gear and the descriptions of adventuring gear. Siege equipment. I don't see encumbrance here. Oh, and then we're back around to this. So, okay, what is general skills? How to read weapon using monsters. Monsters may use weapon mastery rules if they ordinarily use weapons to attack. Just with player characters, a monster must find a trainer willing to teach it. Note that only humans and demi-humans can become grandmasters. Monsters cannot. Okay, so here are others. So general skills. So I guess this is the OD&D precursor to proficiencies for AD&D. Okay, beginning skills. At first level, characters start with 4 blank skills, often called slots. When a skill is chosen, it stops being a slot. Characters who have an intelligence of more than 12 may start with more than 4 skill slots. If your character has an intelligence of 13 to 15, he gets 1 additional slot. If his intelligence is 16 to 70, he gets 17, he gets 2, and if it's 18, he gets 3. Okay, how skills are used. Each skill is based on one of the character's ability scores: strength, intelligence, wisdom, dexterity, constitution, and charisma. Whenever the DM feels a character's selected skill is appropriate to a game situation, he will ask the player to roll 1d20 against a corresponding ability score. This is called a skill roll or a skill check. If the roll is on the d20 is equal to or less than the ability score, so you're trying to roll low here, because your ability scores are going up, so you're trying to roll low. This is actually the first time so far that we've read something about some type of check to an ability. Now, they're here. I think they're later in the book, but I think this is the first time that we've encountered it here, and this is in an optional section of the rules. So this is a skill check. So you're trying to roll equal to or less. The roll of 20 always fails, no matter how high the chance of success. So, for example, the character is riding a horse and the horse is suddenly spooked and begins rearing. The DM will decide the character's riding skill is appropriate to check in this situation. The player will roll 1d20 against his skill-related ability score, dexterity. If the character's dexterity is 15, the character only has to roll a 15 or less to successfully use the riding skill. So, sample skills. Strength skills include intimidation, muscle, and wrestling. Oh, and again, we see a lot of the ones that we see over and over again. Although the 5th edition has become more streamlined. But intelligence skills, alchemy, alternative magics. Disguise, artillery, knowledge, choose type, labor, language, mapping, cartography, shipbuilding, wisdom skills, things like bravery, that's interesting, mysticism, danger sense, dexterity skills, acrobatics, blind shooting, mountaineering, constitution skills, endurance. Food tasting is a constitution skill. It's probably checking for poison, right? Charisma, acting, bargaining, deception, leadership, music, persuasion, singing, and storytelling. Zero Theory says, my memory from playing was almost all these intricate rules were ignored or forgotten at the table. That's probably why they went with, okay, hold on, let's simplify that for AD&D. Lord Lawless says, I never played, but seriously looked at weapon mastery. Just doesn't fit what I want from BX. Like you said, if I want crunch, I'd play Rollmaster or Harn. Yeah, or Harn. Yeah. I think of that when I think about Harn as well. So yeah, that all of a sudden became something that felt like very different from what I remember as D&D. Stargate Mind says, removal of these non-weapon proficiencies from 5e into the base skills limited thousands of options for players in character creation. Yeah, that's another side that it didn't do very well. Or I don't think 5th edition has done very well. Because actually 5th edition, particularly when you're talking about looking at the character sheet, and you're talking about class-based games where everybody's looking at the character sheet all the time, 5th edition makes you think that it's very skills-oriented because that long list of skills is there. But it's actually not, which is a large number of how it's played wrong. I mean, whatever works at your table. But you're always supposed to be doing ability rolls, and just sometimes the skills will apply. Yeah, so let's see. Alternative magics. This skill gives a character basic familiar with magics that are not related to standard spell casting. This includes knowing many spell abilities, magical abilities such as well-known prime plane and extraplanar monsters and immortal beings. The DM defines what type of knowledge this skill provides in his own campaign. Ceremony. A character with this skill knows how to honor an immortal through ritual and ceremony. The skill allows a cleric to perform normal rituals of his clerical order and can even permit a character to gain an immortal's attention through devout prayer, fasting, sacrifice of possession, etc. This skill includes knowing the code of behavior and the rituals pleasing to the immortal. Fire building. I always thought that trying to create a fire like early on was something you really need to roll for and stuff like that. That's kind of gone by the wayside too. A character with a tinderbox and this skill is able to start fires automatically, no roll necessary in ordinary conditions. If the character is trying to build a fire without a tinderbox, he will eventually succeed. He must make a d6 roll each round, and on 1 or 2, he ignites the fire. If the character is trying to build a fire in adverse conditions, he must make a skill check with penalties assigned by the DM. Oh, healing. So this is the ability to treat wounds. We always like to look at this. To treat wounds and diagnose illnesses among humans and demi-humans. A successful skill roll allows a character to restore 1d3 hit points to a wounded character. A related skill, veterinary healing, allows similar treatment of animals and monsters. This skill cannot be used on a wounded character more than once for the same set of wounds. If the character receives new wounds, healing skill can be applied to the new wounds. So I've talked about in videos that I think wound tracking, I like the Hackmaster wound tracking, that you're taking separate wounds. So this character, but this does say the same set of wounds. So it's kind of like a halfway house. Healing skill can be applied to against the new wounds. The skill is rolled against a set of wounds, not individually against each injury. Yeah, so the term set of wounds usually refers to all the hit points lost by a character in a single combat situation. So I guess it would be too powerful then. Yeah, I mean, 1d3, these people are not starting off with very many hit points. So 1d3 would be a lot. So rather than saying against each injury, you've got this aggregate term called set of wounds that are all an aggregate of all wounds suffered in a combat situation. If a healer rolls a natural 20 when using the skill, he accidentally inflicts 1d3 points of damage to the patient, and he may not treat that set of wounds again. Oh, that's 1 in 5. That's a 5% chance when the healer comes over that they're going to actually injure you. That's quite a bit. Or you can diagnose illnesses. The hunting skill. See, this is a way, but this is, again, in the optional set of rules, but this is also a potential way to differentiate characters from one another. Well, choose your proficiencies. Improving skills, learning more skills. Skill slots gain, skill slot, human table. Skill slot acquisition, demi-human table. And then we get into movement. Huh. Well, I'm glad we went through that. The races as classes, that was interesting. And then also, I didn't even know that all this mastery stuff existed as an optional rule. I think I would end up dropping that. Or, you could, I suppose, if you wanted to do it, you could just import some of the AD&D rules, because it does talk about transferring back and forth. That does simplify it, because we did use that, but that was a simpler way of indicating mastery and grand mastery. All right, so let's see here. Let me see. If you're coming in or you have found us and you're hanging out with us, I really appreciate your being here. I'm going to put the Rape and Keep Discord server link in here one more time. And then also, I do want to promote the show that's going to be Friday night, which is going to be a solo playthrough of Hero Quest, talking about adventure games. Let me give you a link for that, because I'd really like for you to hit the notify me button on this. So this is Hero Quest. I'm going to be frying up a steak. All those. This is cool as hell, though. Stray says, "Yeah, I'm so glad that we are going through this. It's helped me understand more about what old school is. Because when I thought old school, I thought Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, 2nd edition particularly. All those weapons tables make it look like an algebra textbook. It does. So here is Hero Quest, 6:30 Friday night. Please hit notify me. Although I will also put out a notification on the Discord server on that. I'll be cooking dinner, and then we'll be playing Hero Quest, the a Barbarian Quest Pack solo quest. So I'll just be playing the Barbarian. All right. Well, I've got a lot of things to do. I hope that I'm sure you do as well. I've got to actually, one of those things, figure out what I've got to do over the next year to get where we are trying to go. So there is a lot to do here. I hope that you are productive today. I hope that you are creative today. And until I see you tomorrow, grind on.